Oh, beloved, let us bless the Most High. Let us bless him as we come together to rejoice in his word. We honor the holy Malachi, the anointed vessel of the Father, his prophet Eshadar, the leader and founder of the house of Beth'Yahu. And we praise and honor the holy Malka, the righteous evangelist and covering of the Most High, our overseer, Salaisaiah. And with admiration and love, we honor the prophet crown prince, Yahiel, and evangelist crown princess, Eldara. And we thank the Father for the royal family of the holy prophet and the sovereign nation of the righteous house of the Most High. Indeed, it is yet an honor to be able to share with you from the book of the Holy Nabi. For in this book we receive the revealing of things to come and the direction of preparation for the last days. As the word has been spoken, beloved, we are blessed to come to understanding through the teachings of the prophet. And as we know that World War III has already begun, as uttered through the voice of the Most High, we yet behold the different layers of its unfolding and the various aspects that we must watch for. Let us enter in. The Holy Prophet on August 18th of 2018 declared unto us, World War III has begun. It began in 2012. While everyone was looking at 2012 based on the Mayan calendar as the end of the world, they had no idea that something else was brewing in the shadow. But you did, the Holy Melek conveyed. I warned you that the year 2012 will be the beginning and shifting of things in the earth. Major shiftings, major alterings, and an undercurrent shall begin to surface in the year 2012. I warned you it will continue and it will get worse. I pinpointed, the Holy Malachi said, that the year 2018, from 2012 to 2018, to be watchful. World War III has begun. Everyone looks for World War III by the gathering of nations and their militaries to fight. That is not how war begins, the Holy Malachi stated. As massive earthquakes do not begin suddenly, it always gives a warning. And the warning comes with shivers and shaking in the earth. They last for a few seconds, a minute, sometimes several minutes or more. A warning that something of a catastrophic level is coming. Now we are at the beginning of World War III. When nations come together and the war begins in its full fighting, it will be too late. And yet again, as the Holy Melek continued to reveal unto us on July 28th of 2019, as he brought us unto further understanding. These prophecies are gauges of the time that we are in. They will create war. Review history, World War I and World War II. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, many of those in governments, all orchestrated to establish World War I and World War II. It was all planned. Therefore, wars are implemented. When war starts, everything is torn down. The government comes down and you rebuild a new government. It was all planned. They needed war, and they also needed to test their new weapons. The Holy Melek and Malachi of the Most High continue to sound the alarm of things to come, and more specifically regarding World War III. On October 21st of 2007, he proclaimed, during the teaching of the latter days, the end times, when we learned of things known and things not known, and things that will occur and happen in the government, the shifting and authority in the government and what this means. All of this to be unfolded before us. The Holy Prophet revealed that the President of the United States of America appeared on television and alarmed the people of the country and the world concerning World War III when he stated, if Iran develops the potential, the ability to make nuclear weapons, we will be in World War III. He did not say, I think we'll be in World War III. He said, we will be in World War III. When World War III arrives, there is no turning back. When Iran obtains nuclear weapons, they will be a threat to Israel, and they will draw the United States into battle. And once the United States enters into war, Russia and China will also engage. The Holy Nabi declared, we are in the time. It is the winds of it. But before this was declared, you were warned about it by what the Most High had proclaimed. The Father conveyed this word unto us when he said, he comes quickly. This announcement came from one of the greatest leaders, or considered to be one of the most powerful leaders in the world. To broadcast this captures the attention of the entire world. What he related to is what was reported to him from the Pentagon and the CIA, the Holy Prophet declared. Russia is assisting Iran to develop nuclear weapons. And when this nation declares World War III, nuclear war, it is over. As the prophecy was declared, let us look at Iran's nuclear program. It was actually launched in the 1950s with the help of the United States. But following a 1979 revolution, most of the international nuclear cooperation with Iran was cut off. And in 1981, Iran's officials concluded that the country's nuclear development program would continue. In the 1990s, Russia formed a joint research organization with Iran, providing Iran with Russian nuclear experts and technical information. In 2007, the United Nations National Intelligence Estimate stated that Iran had halted an alleged active nuclear weapons program since 2003. But then in February of 2010, the U.S. actually reversed that estimate and those reports that they were making, and that they said they believed that Iran was working in secret to develop a nuclear warhead. But listen to this, beloved. Iran's first nuclear power plant, the Baqash 1 reactor, was completed with major assistance from the Russian government, just as the Holy Melek said, and officially opened in September of 2011, and by the Russian engineering contractor. He said that the Baqash nuclear power plant would reach full capacity by the end of 2012. The same time the Holy Melek declared that World War III had begun, we see that Iran's nuclear plant had reached its full capacity. The same thing that President Bush had warned of. When Iran comes to having nuclear capacity, we will be in World War III. And it is just as the Holy Prophet declared. Nothing can evade the word. The word never fails. And the Holy Melek declared that World War III had begun in 2012. Let us bless the Most High. Oh, Father. Then it was recognized that while Iran worked in secret, they were actually building their nuclear capacity. So as tensions with the U.S. and Iran continues to elevate daily, And as we mentioned previously, there are various relationships right now within certain countries where there is the further manifestation that World War III is escalating daily. Now we will look at how this comes into play in terms of Iran. For the word of the Most High said, beloved, they will come to take a spoil. And this region is a major concern, especially for the U.S. and Israel. The word of the Holy Malachi revealed unto us and made us aware of neighboring Iraq being equipped to strike Israel and the U.S. at any moment. This was spoken by the Holy Prophet of the Most High on September 8th of 2002. They have an agenda in the Middle East. They put their military there because this is where black blood is. The Holy Prophet said, the earth bleeds, as the Most High revealed unto his prophet. What the earth bleeds is not red, it is black. It is called oil. They know in Africa the earth is plentiful in diamonds and rubies and precious stones that are merchants' property. That is not the military's property. The military does not want diamonds and riches, the gold and the things that are in the land of Eden. The military needs black blood to maneuver themselves in power. You cannot run a nation of technology or equipment using technology without fuel, the Holy Prophet uttered. If they are going to maintain power and transport tanks and jeeps, ships, airplanes, and whatever military equipment there is, they need what is coming out of the earth, and that is plentiful in the Middle East. All nations now that are of power are making their way towards the Middle East. Russia has a part. China has a part. America knows this, and the only way that they can gather their troops in abundance to have part is by way of war. If they get their troops there by any other way, they would be questioned. If they just decide, let's gather right now 1 million men, soldiers with equipment, and send ships to the Middle East, Russia will question. China will question. Saudi Arabia, who is a weak link and an allied nation to America, they will question. If they gather there for any other reason without war, then it would be questioned and challenged. The Holy Melek revealed unto us. They must go there in the name of war. Saddam Hussein is developing nuclear missiles. The Holy Prophet stated it is that he has not come to the creation of it yet, as they would present. The Holy Melek said he did not have to because he was given nuclear missiles from Russia and China. He was given it already, and the Most High had showed this unto his Holy Prophet. Some of the news media say they are not sure if he has nuclear missiles. They say that he doesn't have it. They say they don't believe it. They don't know for sure. But the Most High declared unto his Malachi that they have it. This is a smoke cloud, a distraction, the Holy Prophet said. They say he is going to create, to distract the people. He is a mastermind at war. He knows America has satellites and planes that fly above radar. He knows they take pictures of what is going on. He creates smoke clouds, distractions, so while he maneuvers by other means his military. There was a train even under the ground traveling through caves, the Holy Prophet uttered. He has the support of Russia and China. Money has been given to him, billions of dollars as a covenant and token. And even as America strives for oil, so does Russia and China. Everything is boiling up there. America lies to you and tells the people that they are going in there in the name of peace to prevent this man from making nuclear missiles or chemical weapons of mass destruction. That is a distraction. He has these things already, the Holy Prophet declared. They know it, but they do not want to tell the people for sure that he has it, that he has missiles that can reach here in the U.S. if he wants to. Saddam knows that if he starts a war like that, then his allies are not going to back him up. Russia has to keep a certain image before the nations of the world, just like China. So Saddam is not going to send a nuclear missile this way. The moment he does that, then America is going to destroy him and that nation off the face of the earth. So the man has to be careful in his plotting and in his strategy. All of this so that the word of the Most High can be fulfilled, the Holy Melek declared. As we see, beloved, the Most High has made us aware that Iraq has been prepared with nuclear missiles when this word was spoken in 2002. World War III has begun already, beloved, and there are several places that can ignite this fire. So let us further look at Iran and the present pressure being placed on the U.S. and Israel as a result of alliances that are now presently being formed. This is as of June 30th of this year, 2020. And even the headlines when it states, World War III Alliance. Alarm bells as North Korea and Iran forge an alliance. North Korea and their new ambassador to Iran, they met in a meeting, shook hands, and there was a report that was shared between the two. This report said that in order to eliminate the nuclear threats from the U.S., the North Korean government made all possible efforts through dialogue in resorting to international law, but it ended in vain because the U.S. pulled out of their nuclear agreement that they had. He said it is the U.S.'s hostile policy and nuclear threats against North Korea. It became more aggressive after the summit that was held in Singapore. And despite the facts that they voluntarily agreed to what the agreement was supposed to be, the U.S. still ended that agreement. So they say now North Korea has moved ahead, forging a stronger relationship with Iran. They could not get the agreement or the word of the U.S. to hold what they promised. And it forced now North Korea to form a partnership with Iran. In addition to that, we know of the buildup, we shared of the relationship with China and the U.S. and much that was going on in the South China Seas. We see the trade wars that's going on. We see much that is escalating between China and the U.S. And China has taken an opportunity this month in an attempt to defy the U.S. It was written, and you can find this in the New York Times as a source. And when we look at news articles, it is not to confirm what the word is. We know the word of the Most High, and we know it to be sure. But we look at these things because we are blessed to see the unfolding of the word as it comes to its fruition. The New York Times article said that defying the U.S., China and Iran are near a trade and military partnership. My goodness. Iran and China quietly drafted a sweeping economic and security partnership that would clear the way for billions of dollars of Chinese investments in energy and other sectors, undercutting the Trump administration's efforts to isolate Iran because of their nuclear military ambitions. If you are aware, you will know that presently the U.S. has put so many sanctions on Iran and has gotten its allies to join in putting so many sanctions in Iran that it has really affected their economic state of being. So now China, in an effort to defy the U.S., now goes to Iran and they take billions of dollars to Iran and say, let us form and let us come together in this trade and military partnership. In this partnership, the document describes that they are going to have cooperation in this region that has been a foothold and a strategic occupation for the U.S. for decades. Tehran's disposition, and they were so desperate to be able to get support that they were literally pushed into the arms of China, which has the technology. So China now will give Iran the technology. And Iran, being one of the world's largest oil producers, will give China the oil that it needs. As the holy Melek said, the black gold. Tehran's largest source of revenue has plunged since the Trump administration began imposing these sanctions in 2018. China gets about 75% of its oil from abroad and is the world's largest importer of oil at more than 10 million barrels a day, according to last year's report. So these two have decided to come together and form a partnership with Chinese investments totaling somewhere around $400 billion over the next 25 years. In addition, the report is published in the New York Times said that the expansion of military assistance, training, and intelligence sharing will also be viewed with alarm in Washington. American warships already tangle with the Iranian forces and other forces in the Persian Gulf. And now they will have a challenge because China will be supplying Iran with what it needs to be able to succeed. Iran and China both view this deal as a strategic partnership in not just expanding their own interests, but confronting the U.S., said the reporter of this article. It is the first of its kind for Iran to now have a world power as its major ally. And the United States was not too happy about what transpired. It was reported on July 14th of this year. This is all taking place in the month of July. This is current. This is before us as World War III is further unfolding. The U.S. did its best to close every road to Iran. The U.S. did its best to shut down Iran every way it could. And the only path open was to go to China. So the United States will continue to impose their sanctions, not only on China, but now they are trying to find anyone who's assisting Iran or assisting China to receive U.S. sanctions. But Iran has already placed itself in position to receive the financial support that was lost from the sanctions. And China has found a way now to receive what it needs most, which is oil. China has been prepared for many years. And what they have done until recent to ensure that they have economic power and control, that their trade still flourishes, and that they can provide military influence and assistance. They have created what is called the Belt Road Initiative. And in this Belt Road Initiative, China is prepared to invest $4 trillion. And they're involving more than 70 countries where they are building what they call the Belt Road. The Belt relates to anything on the ground, the roads, the rail systems of transportation. The road refers to the sea routes. So by joining the road, the rail, and the sea routes through this Belt Road initiative, they are able now to forge a way where they can go from China through in to Pakistan, Afghanistan, up north into Russia. From Russia, they work their way down through Europe, across the Greek Isles and the Mediterranean, into Egypt, through Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, back to Asia. A complete road system that is used in the name of trade and commerce. China's gone to these 70 nations, and they've said, you need help in your infrastructure. You need help in building your roads, your airports, your hospitals, your schools. You need trade. We will invest in these things to the tune of $4 trillion, relieving these nations of having to spend these monies themselves. And in return, they create a byway that now, of course, is fronted to use for trade. But as you can see, through the wisdom of the Most High, the militaries can also maneuver. A way to get from China all the way through to Russia, down through Asia, down through Europe, through the Middle East, coming through Iran. And everyone is sitting at the back door, just as the word has revealed. The situation in Iran escalates daily, beloved. It was a week ago when an Iranian passenger plane was forced to change its course because of U.S. fighter jets approaching it. The commercial aircraft was traveling from Tehran to Beirut, and en route, a U.S. F-15 pulled up so close to the aircraft that the plane had to immediately descend 1,000 meters. There were people on the plane that were injured. Though minor injuries, they were still yet injured, beloved. And as they came out of this, the U.S. says, we were only checking to make sure that it was a commercial aircraft and that they were not carrying any weapons or transporting anything that they should not have. This happened July 23rd, a little over a week ago. The response from Iran, and when you look at the way in which they responded, on July 28th, just 3 days later, Iran has moved, as reported by NBC News, a mock aircraft carrier to the strategic Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz in the Middle East sees the transport of 20% of the world's cargo. So Iran had built a mock aircraft carrier, and this aircraft carrier was made a replica of the USS Nimitz. They moved this replica out to sea into the Strait of Hormuz. And then, 2 days later, Iran fired ballistic missiles at this replica of a U.S. warship on July 29th, 2020, just 2 days ago. Iran said it fired ballistic missiles and destroyed a mock-up of a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Strait of Hormuz early Wednesday during a second day of drills. The missiles were hidden in camouflage from deep underground sites as part of their war games in southern Iran. The state television called this drill an important achievement for Iran that could pose serious challenges to enemy intelligence organizations. Iranian forces used combat drones to target the U.S. dummy ship that it had created, which some saw as a warning to U.S. forces in the region. The ship resembled the 980-foot-long USS Nimitz. During this military drill, they used smart bombs. And as they stated, the war games prompted 2 U.S. military bases in the region, the Al Dhafara Air Base in the United Arab Emirates and the other air base in Qatar. They immediately moved to a temporary heightened security alert. So, beloved, as we made aware of this relationship between the U.S. and Iran, we see that it is deteriorated to the point where Iran has turned to seek support from North Korea, forging an alliance with China. They have already been in cooperation with Russia. And all of these are tying together to be major influences and hotspots where at any time it can further ignite World War III. As we continue to look at the relationships, we spoke of the relationship between China and the U.S., North Korea versus the U.S., India versus Pakistan. All of these are hotspots right now where the war can easily escalate at any given day. We see now the tensions with Iran and the way they are flexing their muscle power in the region now that they have the support that they feel was necessary. And we also know that for years, the U.S. and Russia, though they may meet with a handshake, behind that smile, they are rivals at any point, ready to go to war. It was on April 13th of 1998 when the Holy Nabi declared, Russia will now begin to maneuver themselves into various parts of the earth like America. They're going to be opposing force to America. Like America polices various countries, Russia will represent themselves as a police over America. The Most High had spoken this to his holy Melek, as he revealed, they will stand in defense of any nation who opposes America, not because they are for the country, but because they are for their own purpose. They have an agenda in their mind. There is something they want. They want recognition. They want influence. It is power they want. Russia and China have a joint alliance and have united their economy. China now has a threatening military force, the Holy Melek stated, and has received a warship from Russia. Russia's military force is not as strong as America or China. Nevertheless, their nuclear armory is equivalent to America. America's military force is well-rounded on the battlefield. Their air force, naval warships, and nuclear weapons. Russia and China are aware of this. Therefore, to bring down this nation of America, they have joined their forces together. China has the largest foot army in the world, where they could engage in war with American soldiers who are highly trained, one of the best in the world. Now China is supporting Russia and helping them economically, helping their industry. Russia, as we learned, signed a treaty that they would fight in the next Islamic fundamentalistic war with Iran against Israel. They signed that treaty, and the signing was prophesied. The Muslims, Iran, and many nations are ready. They know it is inevitable that they will go to war against Israel, and Russia is going to be a part of it. What do they have in common? They have different ideologies, different customs, different beliefs, the Holy Malachi declared. But the wars they have fought in the past have never been for the same cause, but now the war that they will fight together will all be for the same cause. As the Holy Malachi declared, every Muslim nation in the Middle East wants to destroy Israel. They sit in the middle. Ethiopia is an enemy. Palestine is an enemy. Saudi Arabia is an enemy to Israel. Iran, Iraq, all the Muslim nations are enemies to Israel. When the Muslims give a cry of war, every Muslim will believe it is their cause, for it will be declared as a holy war, the Holy Prophet stated, and they will rise up for their enemy they consider to be Israel. As the Holy Melek continued, he revealed through the book of the prophet on June 18th of 1999, he uttered, "The Spirit of the Father came unto me. Hear the visions of the Most High." The Holy Prophet declared, "I was taken out, and I watched in the night of the very region of Yugoslavia, where America went to declare war and fought their battle. I saw a major discrepancy taking place," the Holy Nabi shared. "I saw the forces of Russia by way of submarines in the seas. I saw ships and boatmen in the vision, men dressed in fashionable suits designed for water. They came up out of the water upon the shores. The highest power revealed unto his prophet, 'Look, my son, even in the vision of the night, for the darkness represents secret. This nation called Russia has an advantage, and it shall be made known in thy day, son of man.'" The prophet said that he saw the troops, American troops upon the shore, watching, and they could not detect what was going on. When they beheld the troops of Russia coming from out of the waters upon the shores, they began to fire upon them and to kill them, and a battle broke out. The Holy Nabi said that he heard the Most High say unto him, "Even in the night, this nation known as Russia has in their possession a new weapon. It is a jamming system," the prophet revealed. It is a jamming system where every radio wave that goes out to warn and to warrant help will be jammed. This means that if a troop is in trouble, for them to receive help, they must radio using codes. But if the jamming system works, and it will, the Holy Prophet declared, they will get no help because the waves will be scrambled. The highest power showed unto his realm son that this is going to be a major instrument, a major tool used in the beginning of the battle that will take place. Russia is going to test their new weapons just like America did against Iraq. The reason for that war was just to test their new technology. That's why America went to war with Iraq. There was no money involved. Billions upon billions of dollars were spent on behalf of the American people and America's pocket. They received nothing for that war, the Holy Prophet declared. The interest they had was to test their technology, because dummy warfare does not suffice like real confrontation. And what better place to test technology and weaponry but in real confrontation. As the night vision came and the secrets thereof of this nation, the holy prophet saw the American troops running. As they flee, they found safety for a time. The Most High spoke to his prophet, "Watch ye the hour, for what is reported by man is not of the truth. But what I report to thee, reveal unto my people, saith the Most High, that they will know." And we know that every word that is uttered from the mouth of the holy vessel comes to pass. Beloved, as it was prophesied by the holy prophet Eshadar on November 2nd of 2003, I shall bring dominion from the north quarters, the people called Russians, and I shall bring far from the east quarters of Asia, the people called Chinese. They shall form an alliance with the nations thereof of Arabs, and Palestine shall open her gates that she owns not, and shall let them in. They shall make possession of the grounds for the wealth, the substance, and the spoils therein. The nation far west shall be jealous, and I shall provoke them, even by the northern quarters and the quarters of the far east of Asia. Israel, my land, shall be troubled with great mourning and wars. The people thereof that occupy, who say they are Jews and are not, shall fight my war, and I shall give them strength to win. For they shall preserve the land for my remnant when they return back hither into my possession, saith the Most High. As the holy Malachi further declared unto the alliances of China and Russia, and what will happen in terms of Russia's increase in military strength, the prophet of the Most High proclaimed on October 15th of the year 2000, as he read from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. The Holy Nabi taught us. This speaks concerning Russia, Turkey, and Ethiopia. There are things we will enter into concerning Ethiopia, Libya, and many Muslim nations in reference to the gathering. Saudi Arabia, which is an ally of the United States, will gather against Israel. And as of now, the United States stands between Israel and Saudi Arabia as an arm of peace to prevent them from fighting. Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, and many other nations, China will send thousands upon thousands of footmen. This speaks of Asia, Asia Minor, that will gather and bring their bands, a great force of footmen. As the Holy Prophet continued to reveal, a great army of Muscovites, which are Russians. Russia, as the Holy Melek prophesied and revealed by the highest power, has a union together with China to this day. China supports Russia because the Russian economy is poor, the Holy Prophet stated. Russia, in return, sells nuclear missiles and weapons to China. And now China is a powerful military force, and Russia is a boiling pot prepared to boil over. Germany and the United States military is very thin in its structure, for they have extended themselves helping so many other nations, the prophet declared. They have spent trillions of dollars to do so. And instead of improving the army and securing the military force and the people that are part of their force, they have spent trillions of dollars doing foolishness, as the Holy Prophet declared. Beloved, as we continue through the revealing of the book of the Holy Malachi, and as we've been made aware of the conflict between the U.S. and Russia, the U.S. and Russia has confronted each other in military armament, economic influence, the building of alliances with allied nations, and their overall global strategic influence and power. And while both are preparing for nuclear war, biological and chemical war, there are also other perimeters that they will meet in confrontation. For World War III has many layers. The war that will take place in space is just as relevant and important as the battle to be fought on the ground. During the Iraq War, missiles were shot into the stratosphere, and we saw that it was a war fought so that the U.S. could learn of its technological capability as they intercepted and disabled missiles before they were able to reach their targets. This directs our attention to another area to watch in World War III as we continue to see its unfolding. On January 22nd of 2019 in Science Mag, as it stated, decades after Reagan's Star Wars, Trump calls for missile defenses that would blast warheads from the sky. And they wanted to say that now President Donald Trump's administration wants to lift their chances by putting sensors and interceptors in space, and by going after warheads during their boost phase when they are rising slowly and still attached to their booster rockets. Last week, the Pentagon released its Missile Defense Review, its first strategy updated since 2010. The plan would expand existing ground-based missile defenses, but also add sensor-laden satellites, laser-equipped drones, and missile-carrying fighter jets. The review also calls for placing defenses in space. It would start with a network of satellites with infrared sensors to detect the heat of launches and track the missiles through their flights. And they say that he took these ideas from the Reagan administration's effort of Star Wars. If you think this is not a reality, beloved, for the Most High has revealed unto us through his holy Malachi to watch for the layers in which World War III is continually unfolding before us. TheGuardian.com reported on July 23rd of this year, a little over a week ago, Britain and the U.S. accuse Russia of launching a weapon in space. The launch of a projectile from a satellite into orbit threatens the peaceful use of space, they say. The U.S. and U.K., as we see in their accusation, they're saying that there's further evidence of Russia's continuing efforts to develop and test space-based systems, and consistent with the Kremlin's published military doctrine to employ weapons that would hold U.S. and allied space assets at risk. He said that the weapon was launched from one of two satellites, which maneuvered close to a U.S. government satellite earlier this year. And Russia has insisted that its space activities were purely peaceful. But as the writer writes in this, that this activity was surely for the idea of presenting its military operations. The head of the UK space dictionary, he says, We are concerned by the manner in which Russia tested one of its satellites by launching this projectile with the characteristics of a weapon. Actions of this kind, he says, threaten the peaceful use of space. And now we see that Russia is testing their weapons where they will shoot them into space, attached to satellites, in an attempt to disable them. We also urge that Russia continue to work peaceably, but most military activities in space are highly secret. He said, I don't want to speculate on what the U.S. does or does not do, because most military objects in space are done in secret. Beloved, with our eyes wide open, our minds stayed clear and stayed on the Most High. We hold high to the word of the highest power. There are many distractions and illusions to steer the world in various directions, that they would not even recognize the changes that are taking place and the proper understanding of the word of Yahweh. The holy elect is not only made conscious of what is to come, but by faith we remain vigilant in what must be done in our preparation. COVID-19 is fulfilling its purpose to throw the entire world out of sync, so that the things that the secret government will usher in will be welcomed. And as we continue to look at the ever-growing tactics, we have to look at the presence of World War III, as we know that the Holy Malachi has declared, and that the U.S. is moving forward in its preparation. And I have to say, at a time right now, even in this country where the governments are looking for vaccines, where this week most of the attention was put upon the stimulus and trying to find relief for the people of the American public, they actually in this week, this evening, went home without coming to a consensus or an agreement. But beloved, when they came together at the beginning of convening, the very first thing the Senate did on July 23rd, the Senate's 2021 defense bill passed easily, where both the Senate and the House of Representatives, both of them passed their bill by more than 2/3. And the reason why that's important, beloved, is because a 2/3 vote of any bill means that no matter what the president does, he cannot veto the bill because they have enough votes to override it. The Senate on Thursday overwhelmingly passed their version of the 2021 National Defense Authorization Act, with a provision to strip 10 Army posts of Confederate linked names. The passage of the bill, which is approximately $740 billion, was set up in a way that it gives the military personnel equipment, training, organizational needs, anything needed to implement the national defense strategy. And they made sure that the first thing they did was fund this bill and make sure that it would pass regardless of the president's veto. The president said that he would veto the bill because they attached to the bill that you must remove the Confederate names on 10 military bases. And the president said he will not do that. He saw no need to remove the names. But they have said, regardless, we have the votes and we will override. The first order of business and what they accomplished this week was to fund the defense, left the people without a stimulus, but funded the defense. And very little, if anything, was mentioned in the media. It still continues. And the Holy Malachi has made us privileged to watch for these things. Beloved of the Most High, as we come to a pause during this revealing of the book of the Holy Prophet, we are on high alert of the many things that are transpiring. We understand the importance of securing our soul and seeking the kingdom of heaven. For this is where our safety lies. For the word of Yahweh tells us not to lean on our own understanding. It is going to take the leading of the Ruach HaKodesh to guide us into all the things that we must become familiar with. It is going to take the word of the Holy Malachi to show us the path that we must follow. The direction will come from the Holy Malachi, his prophet in the land, as we follow and walk in faith, not by those things that we see. For the coordinates will direct us unto life, and life more abundantly. Let us bless the Most High for his word and for the book of the Holy Prophet. Let us bless him.